Bryan stands by the move, saying he only meant to help storm victims. But liberal fans blasted him anyway, tweeting, "I think you just tanked your career. I'll never listen to you again." Another one says, "Another country artist to cross off my list," and hashtag cancel Luke Bryan and hashtag boycott Luke Bryan. Bryan responding, "I understand Governor DeSantis is a very polarizing figure, but I grew up in a country where if a governor asks you if they can come and raise awareness to help victims of a natural disaster, you help. I've generally stayed out of politics throughout my career, and I knew people would chatter about this. But for me, the more important piece was if I am going to come back there a few weeks after a large portion of people have been affected by a natural disaster in a state where people have been good to me, this felt right." Congressman, you know Luke Bryan. Yes. You've worked with him on a bill. What do you make of this?
You talk about outrage, just false outrage. You got to be mad about something. And for the left, which, again, if it has anything to do remotely with a conservative, it's terrible. We're just going to throw it away. And it was pointed out earlier, I think, by some even here on the network, that, what if this had been in California and he had invited Gavin Newsom? Oh, he's the greatest country. He's a new age of country music. No, he's not. He's a good old Georgia boy who just wanted to help Florida, which was pretty impressive in my point, on Florida-Georgia weekend, which is what this was. Let's get back to the basics here.
Who won that game, by the way?
Georgia. Thank you. We don't want to discuss the Tennessee game this week. We got that still coming up. But this goes back. As someone who knows, has been around Luke Bryan and knows him a little bit, it is his heart. If you look at his family, he's taken in, the family history he's had with his sister and his kids. There's just so much going on. And for him to be criticized for going down and helping, where's the other big name musicians and entertainers going down to Florida to help raise money on what has been a very tragic situation down in that part? Look, Luke doesn't deserve this. And by the way, for everyone he loses, he's gained 5 more.
Yeah,
fans.
Absolutely. And Kaylee, I note the juxtaposition between the totally screaming, cheering audience that was so respectful and excited to have the good governor on stage rather than a few noisy extremists online. So I wonder if they're even accurate.
Yeah, exactly. The noisy extremists online. So Luke Bryan admits he hates women, LGBTQ people, and immigrants. Okay, really? No, the cheering crowd suggests otherwise. His entire history suggests otherwise. I love DeSantis. I love Luke Bryan, but I will say I do not love this need to explain ourselves to the left always. He said he typically doesn't respond to this. I think that probably would have been the best approach. One of the lines he had was, "I understand Governor DeSantis is a very polarizing figure." We could have also said, "I understand Governor DeSantis is about to likely win by double digits, probably one of the biggest margins in Florida modern history, probably winning Miami-Dade, potentially they're saying, which would be huge." And to your point, if this were Newsom, there would be no explanation needed, partly because the right doesn't exert their voice in this really complaining, petulant, whiny type of way. But still love Luke Bryan, always will, and totally agree he gained followers after this.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you, Kennedy. I felt that the apology seemed wrong to me, or the explanation, I should say, seemed wrong to me. Of course, I'm a big fan of him. He's amazing. And I was like, why'd you have to do that? I would have loved it if he came out stronger and said, "I absolutely brought the governor on stage. And those of you complaining, do me a favor, donate $5 each to the relief." Somehow sort of garnered that and been strong. I felt it was a little capitulating. I didn't really like that he stepped into the gray area of like, okay, I get it, he's polarizing. What part of him is polarizing? Yeah. Last time I checked, he works really hard to elevate and make life better for every Floridian, and I think Governor Newsom could take a playbook.
Governor Newsom would love to. I don't know that Gavin Newsom would necessarily be cheered, especially in certain parts of California that are experiencing a lot of homelessness and economic hardship. But yes, the roar of the crowd, the decibel level, that tells you all you have to know here. And I understand why, he wants to be an artist who, doesn't put himself into a single box. That's what music should do. It should inspire you. It should challenge you. It should cross lines. It's transportative. So no matter who you are, where you grew up, if it makes you feel a certain way, then that is right. And I think what he's trying to do is just sort of comfort the hurt fifis of the people who are always looking for a reason to be upset about something. And to those of you who are upset, just calm down. Get a hobby. Find some joy in your life instead of looking for reasons to be miserable and call people out and cancel them constantly. Seriously, there's something wrong with you, Emily?
There is so much of that. We talk about performative activism, right? All of that chatter online. Is that? Are you being an ally for LGBTQ rights? Or are you actually achieving something? Or are you just attempting to cancel someone in the name of that? That has nothing to do with that. When that person is raising millions for people who need donations, the whole thing is so misguided.
And do we time their departure from Twitter since Elon Musk took over with an egg timer or a stopwatch?
I like the egg
Counting
timer.
up or down? I just want to know. You know, I want to know who told Luke Bryan that he had to do this. Because I love the way you put it. He just wants his music to be what it is. Don't put him in a box. Don't put him in a box in any sort. His hit right now with Pitbull and Trace Adkins, I mean, we played it on the Focus. I love it. He can do anything he wants. He can go any direction he wants with his voice. It's got range. It's got all of that. And so I have to think that he has some kind of a team behind him, communications team, that would suggest that we're seeing this, you might want to say something. And then who works with him on that? Because if he's left to his own devices, I'd say fire Kamala Harris this. Fire your communications team.
Or did they leave?
Right. And then get some people who really are looking out for what gets you to where Kennedy is talking about, that just gets your music talking. Because you're allowed to have whomever you want on stage with you. You're allowed to support the good people of Florida, and I love that you pointed out that it was Georgia-Florida night, or day. Right, the big game. You're allowed to do all of that. And who's the biggest Florida person as a leader right now? Well, that would be DeSantis. He's the governor. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to love the Floridians enough living next door. You're allowed to do that. Why not make that your message? I agree. I loved what you said. Donate for $5, each one of you that complained about helping people. Like, where's his team?
Yeah, I think that he straddles Hollywood. I would think that there's a lot of probably a tight tether on him behind the scenes with his work.
I could imagine that.
Those kinds of the singing shows or whatever that I don't watch them, but that he's on them. But yes, if I were him, I agree with you.
Cut the tether.
Cut the tether and hire Jason Aldean's wife's communication team.
There you go.
Stands up for what she believes. Yeah, I love her.
You would not believe the pressure background. That I've helped in that music bill with Creative Rights Caucus, which I was a part of in the United States Congress.
Oh, that's right.
There were so many, with Judy Chu as the co-chairman, but yet they were left that did not. There were people on the left who would talk to me outside, but would never talk to me anywhere else.
I'm not surprised.
It's real. It's
They're
real.
all babies, Congressman.
Like the TLC behind the music, best one ever. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.